Hey, we'll get started. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the public informational meeting for project number 111-128, replacement of bridge number 6991 in the town of Pomfret. On this slide, there's some pertinent project information for contact, email, phone, and the link to the project webpage. To use closed captioning and subtitles in Zoom, if you click on the toolbar at the bottom of the screen and select Show Captions, you can click the speaking language and select the language you would like from this shown. And closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available on YouTube after the live event. My name is Mark Burns, and I'm the supervising engineer for the local bridge program. My contact information is shown on the screen here. The goals for tonight's meeting will be some quick housekeeping, where we'll meet the project team and we'll cover some other general program-wide information. Following that will be a formal presentation of the design, which will include explaining the purpose and need and the existing conditions of the bridge and our recommended alternatives. Following the presentation will be a live question and answer session. I'll now read the slide entirely. On Title VI, Civil Rights, no person shall on the basis of race, color, or national origin be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. We highly encourage you to fill out a voluntary post-meeting survey located at the link and QR code shown, and I'm also going to put it in the chat. Additionally, there is a link to the Department's Office of Equity regarding Title VI and Civil Rights. The recording of this presentation will be posted to his YouTube channel after the event, and closed captioning is also available on Zoom and YouTube. Next slide, please. Let's set a quick slide on how to use the Zoom Q&A during the question and answer portion. There's a button for Q&A at the bottom of the webinar window. We'll open up a dialog box and you can type in your question and click enter and you'll answer it. If you're an audio only participant, please dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. You can also reach out to us by email at dot-flbp@ct.gov, by phone at 860-594-2020, which is a monitored voicemail line, and the live Q&A following the presentation. And there's also the project webpage will have other information. Now, even though the Q&A is only available during the live session, the comment period is open for the next 2 weeks following the presentation, which will end on April 16th, 2026. The funding for this project is through the Federal Local Bridge Program's Design Managed by State, or DMS program. In the past, projects were funded with an 80% federal reimbursement, and the town was responsible for a 20% match for design, rights-of-way, and construction. Under the DMS program, design, rights-of-way, and construction phases are funded with a minimum of 80% federal funds and a maximum of 20% state funds. Design, rights-of-way, and construction are at zero cost to the town. Now, even though the department is taking on this design on behalf of the town, it is still a full partnership and we're coordinating the project milestones. The goals of the DMS program are to provide a streamlined approach to design using our DOT and consultant resources to aid the towns in keeping their bridges in a state of good repair by effectively using federal funds, to decrease typical project design time from 48 to 60 months to 24 to 36 months, when applicable, utilizing accelerated bridge construction or ABC techniques to shorten construction duration, and to increase the number of municipal projects delivered to construction each year. I'll now turn it over to Maureen Nicholson, First Selectman in the town of Pomfret, for some remarks. Maureen?
Good evening. Hi, Maureen Nicholson, First Selectman, Town of Pomfret. I want to take a few minutes to express my appreciation for the federal local bridge program and its support in replacing the Day Road Bridge at no cost to Pomfret taxpayers. This investment delivers a meaningful benefit to our community by eliminating significant financial burdens on local residents while addressing critical infrastructure needs in a timely and responsible manner. In conjunction with the replacement of the Taft Pond and Bosworth Road bridges, this project represents a comprehensive and forward-looking effort to strengthen our town's transportation network. These improvements will substantially enhance safety, reliability, and accessibility for residents, emergency services, and local traffic. Equally important, the longevity of these new structures designed to endure for decades will help stabilize future infrastructure costs and reduce the likelihood of costly emergency repairs. We've experienced both of those. This long-term view ensures that Pomfret is not only addressing current needs, but also planning wisely for the future. Thank you to the team at CHA Solutions and Connecticut DOT and everyone involved in making these critical improvements possible. Your dedication to investing in resilient, high-quality infrastructure is deeply appreciated and will have a lasting positive impact on the Pomfret community for generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen. The rest of the CTDOT project team consists of Derek Lassard, Division Chief of Bridges, Greg Funk, Principal Engineer of the Consultant Liaison Unit, myself, Mark Burns, the Supervising Engineer, Michelle Rame is the Project Engineer, and representing the department's Office of Rights Way is Jack Carlson, Project Coordinator. Representing CHA, who's the Consultant Liaison Engineer with the department, are Don Worst, COE Team Lead, Anand Sasadri, Project Manager for the Local Bridge Program, Michelle Clark, Project Engineer, Jeff LeMay, Highway Specialist, and Olin Mather, Hydraulic Specialist. This slide provides a quick overview of the key structural elements of the bridge. Shown on the top is the deck or the driving surface, which is what vehicles, pedestrians, and bicycles use. Protecting those users are the parapets. Supporting the deck and parapet is the superstructure. In the case of this diagram, is shown as steel beams. Supporting the superstructure are the abutments, otherwise known as the substructure. Wing walls are used for earth retention on the abutments, and depending on the span length, there may be one or multiple piers. Bridges are inspected by the department on a biannual basis and are given a condition rating on a scale of 1 to 9, with 9 being in excellent condition and 1 being a rating of imminent failure. But prior to any situation that would lower the rating that significantly, the town would be alerted to take corrective action. This slide depicts some different types of concrete deterioration. Efflorescence is chemical reaction in which the chemicals inside of the concrete react and create that white substance you see on the surface. Honeycombing is a situation where when forms are made and concrete is poured, it is not properly set up before the forms are removed. Scaling is usually seen on the wearing surface or driving surface of concrete, which is as a result of freeze thaw and causes the top portion of the concrete to come off. Map cracking occurs when water gets inside and then freezes and causes these small cracks to expand. In a more severe case is spalling, where the concrete is deteriorated to the point where the reinforcing steel is exposed. I will now turn over to Michelle Clark for the formal presentation. Michelle?
Thank you very much, Mark. Bridge 06991, Day Road over Wappoquia Brook, is located approximately 50 feet east of Pomfret Street, Route 169. Wappoquia Brook runs from north to south below Day Road, which is oriented east-west. The bridge is adjacent to 2 residential properties, 13 Day Road, which is a single-family residence, and 25 Day Road, which is also a single family residence to the northwest and northeast of the bridge. Both the southwest and the southeast properties adjacent to the bridge are owned by the Audubon Society. Day Road is classified as a rural local road and has a bridge roadway width of 18 feet. To the west, the approach roadway is slightly wider at 22 feet, and to the east, the approach roadway matches the bridge at 18 feet. The traffic volume for this bridge is fairly low at 140 vehicles per day. The 85th percentile speed is 36 miles per hour, which means that 85% of the cars going over the bridge are at or below this speed. The design speed for the roadway is 25 miles per hour, which is also what is posted. The existing bridge is 18 years old and it is a single span bridge, meaning it does not have any intermediate supports across the river. The bridge span length from center of support to center of support is 33 feet, and the total length of the bridge from bridge joint to bridge joint is 34 feet. The existing bridge is comprised of 6 galvanized steel girders supporting a corrugated steel deck, which is topped with bituminous concrete, which is frequently called asphalt. The substructure is comprised of concrete abutments and spread footings, which are founded on soil. In looking at the hydraulic data for this bridge, there are several criteria that we look at. Starting with the watershed, meaning the area of land that drains into the river, that value is 4.3 square miles for this location. I mentioned earlier that the span of the bridge from the center line of support to center line of support is 33 feet, but we also look at the clear span, which is the distance from between the faces of the concrete abutments. For this bridge, the clear span is 32 feet. U.S. Army Corps best management practices recommend that the clear span of the bridge be 1.2 times the bank full width. Bank full width is the distance from bank to bank when the stream is running full under normal conditions, for example, during spring thaw. In other words, the bridge should be about 20% longer than the stream is wide when it's running full. The existing bridge is slightly less than that at 1.2 times the bank full width, because the clear span is 32 feet and it would need to be 33 feet to meet this criteria. Under clearance, which is our next criteria, is how much space is under the bridge during a 100-year storm event. The red dashed line shows the 100-year storm elevation, which is 286.1 feet. In the case of this bridge, the 100-year storm overtops the bridge, so this has a negative value. The existing underclearance is negative 2.7 feet, which does not meet the desired criteria of 1 foot minimum underclearance. Just to explain this a little bit further, if the water level was right at the low chord elevation, that would be 0 underclearance. If the water surface was below, then you would have positive freeboard. But again, since our water surface is actually above the low chord of the bridge, our underclearance is negative 2.7 feet. Freeboard, which is our next criteria, is a measurement taken from the 100-year storm water surface elevation, again, this red line. On the figure below, the roadway is represented by the green dashed line. Because the roadway is overtopped during a 100-year storm event, the freeboard is negative, similar to how I explained with the underclearance. Again, if this was right at the elevation of the roadway, it would be 0. If it was below the top of the roadway, it would be a positive value. Since at this bridge, the water overtops the roadway, the value is negative 1.8 feet. And the desired criteria for freeboard is 1 foot. That roadway low point is actually where freeboard is measured is actually about 90 feet east of the bridge. Backwater is our next criteria. This is a measurement of how much the water backs up because of the bridge crossing. The desired criteria is for the water surface elevation during a 100-year storm event to increase not more than 1 foot compared to natural conditions, i.e. if the bridge wasn't there at all. So for this bridge, the existing backwater elevation is 1.4 feet for the 100-year event, which exceeds that desired criteria of only 1 foot. The final criteria is related to the susceptibility of the bridge foundations to be undermined during a large storm event. This bridge has spread footings founded on soil, and they had been determined to be scour critical. What this means is that if there was a large bridge, there's potential for some of that soil supporting the footings to be washed away. And this is one of the primary reasons that this project was undertaken. Next, we are going to go over the condition ratings for this bridge, which are based on the latest inspection report, which is from 2023. As Mark discussed, condition ratings are from 1 to 9, with 1 being low and 9 being high. All of the components of this bridge, the deck, the superstructure, the substructure, the approach, the channel and channel protection, are rated to be at a satisfactory, which is a 6 or above. One thing to note is that these are condition ratings, and the bridge railing, while it's in satisfactory condition, does not meet current safety standards. Another thing to note is that while the bridge is in good condition, it does have a weight restriction. Trucks that weigh more than 31 tons cannot cross the bridge. And as I noted on the other slide, this bridge is scour critical, so this project was not undertaken because the bridge has an excessive amount of rust or the substructure concrete has deterioration. This project is being driven by other criteria. We have some photos of the bridge and the site to share with you. The top left photo shows the north side of the bridge oriented looking downstream, and the top right photo shows the south side of the bridge looking oriented upstream. The bottom right photo is looking across the bridge to the east. The two red arrows are the locations of a residential driveway for 25 Day Road on the north side, and the arrow on the right is the location of a field access drive to the south onto Audubon property. The bottom right photo is looking across the bridge to the west. The red arrow on the right is the residential driveway for 13 Day Road, and the left arrow is the location of a pedestrian pathway onto Audubon property. In this next set of slides, starting with the top left, this photo is a better view of the driveway at 25 Day Road. This driveway is important because it is close to the bridge, and it is also close to some proposed roadway drainage as part of this project. The photo on the top right shows the location of the pathway to the left and the residential driveway for 13 Day Road to the right. This photo is important because the pedestrian pathway to the Audubon property is proposed to be regraded as part of this project. The bottom left photo shows the condition of the bridge rail, which is in satisfactory condition, and the bituminous overlay. You can see some of the repairs that have been done to that, which is also in satisfactory condition. Finally, the bottom right photo shows overhead utilities on the north side of the bridge. These will need to be temporarily relocated further north so as not to interfere with construction activities. In this set of slides, the top left photo shows the underside of the bridge, and you can see that the steel beams are gray, which is from the galvanizing. The top right shows the bridge rail, which is connected to the fascia beams with short sections of cantilevered steel sections. The bottom two photos show the top of the concrete bridge. You can see that portion right here. There's just a small amount of it that's not underground. The same on the other abutment. There's a small portion of the abutment that shows right where the bridge bears on the abutment. These two also show areas of partially grouted riprap and scour walls that are present along the river embankments. In the top left photo, the southern bridge rail is shown. You can see that there is a small amount of damage to this bridge rail. The top right photo is the weight limit posting. So again, trucks over 31 tons are prohibited from crossing this bridge. And the last two slides at the bottom are views of the Wappoquia Brook, the first looking upstream to the north and the second looking downstream to the south. This project was initiated to address deficiencies in the bridge, two of the primary concerns being the weight restriction and the scour critical condition. The project proposes to widen the bridge to meet FHWA standards, which is a minimum of 20 feet, and to improve the bridge rail system to meet current safety standards. The project also proposes to improve the hydraulic conditions to the extent possible. The proposed rehabilitation is a full bridge replacement, as this is the most cost-effective way to address the scour critical condition. Options for just addressing the scour critical condition and strengthening the bridge were investigated, but were found to be more expensive than a full replacement. The proposed bridge is a 36-foot single-span bridge that will carry AASHTO design, legal, and permit vehicles. This eliminates the weight restriction. The new bridge will have a service life of 75 years. The bridge will be widened to 20 feet and will have an open bridge rail system that meets current design standards. The bridge will look similar in appearance to the bridge in the photo. The bridge will also be designed for potential scour in large storms, eliminating the scour critical condition. We were limited in how much the elevation of the bridge could be raised, but even so, we were able to achieve small improvements in the hydraulic adequacy of the bridge. Speaking in more detail about the aesthetics of the bridge, the project proposes using a formliner for the end walls and the wing walls that simulate stone masonry. This will look similar to the photo in the slide. The open bridge rail will also be metallized to the color of the town's preference, which is dark brown. This is a cross-section of the proposed bridge. You can see that there are two 10-foot lanes providing a 20-foot curb-to-curb width required by FHWA. The out-to-out dimension of the bridge is 23 feet 6 inches. Three-tube bridge rail is mounted on each side of the bridge, supported on a concrete curb. The roadway will be supported by 3 inches of asphalt over a 6-inch topping slab, which is in turn supported by 7 prestressed concrete adjacent deck units. This is the proposed bridge plan, so a bird's eye view looking down on the bridge. The dark orange colors the bridge and the yellow indicates the approach roadways. The proposed bridge has a length of 36 feet from center of support to center of support. Below the bridge, the clear span between the faces of the abutments is 33 feet. In this plan, the light blue, a cyan color, is the Wappoquia Brook, and the purple areas on either side of the brook are wetland areas, which are an important natural resource. The medium blue areas indicate riprap, which will be installed for bank stabilization. The areas of light orange are where the surface of the ground will be lowered by cutting in and removing the soil, and the areas in the light green are areas that will be raised by infilling with soil. This work will be done to smooth out the grades around the bridge to avoid overly steep slopes. This is a view of the elevation of the bridge looking to the north. The orange indicates the bridge, and you can see that the span from the center of support to center of support is 36 feet. This is slightly longer than the existing span, which is 33 feet. The areas in pink are the guide rail along the roadway approaching the bridge. Gray indicates the substructure. And what is important to note about the substructure is that it is supported by steel or by micropiles, which are socketed into bedrock. And this is what's going to support the bridge in a large storm event and removes the scour critical condition that the existing bridge has. Also in the gray area, you can see that we have shown the end blocks and the wing walls with the simulated stone form liner. The light blue cyan area, again, is the Wappoquia Brook, and the blue is the riprap bank stabilization. You'll also notice a light pink area. That is natural stream bed material that will top dress the riprap in areas where the stream will flow under normal conditions. As I noted before, we were limited in how much we could raise the bridge, but our hydraulic criteria does see some improvement. For the proposed bridge, the 100-year storm elevation is 285.3 feet, which is just about at the height of the roadway. The underclearance of the bridge is negative 2.3 feet, the freeboard is negative 1.1 feet, and the backwater is 0.6 feet. Overall, each of the criteria were improved, and the backwater now meets the desired design criteria. This is a plan view of the roadway. Again, we have Wappoquia Brook shown in the light blue cyan. The wetlands are shown in purple. The areas of riprap bank stabilization are shown in blue. The bridge itself is shown in orange with the reconstructed approach roadway shown in yellow. North and south of the roadway, we have areas of fill in light green and areas of cut in light orange. Additionally, in this plan view, you can see that we have two driveways shown in brown. These driveways will have new asphalt aprons to tie into the reconstructed roadway. On the south side of the bridge, you can see that we have an area in brown that is a pedestrian access to the Audubon Society property. Even though this is in brown, this is not going to be an asphalt. It will remain, natural grassy areas. However, this area extends, the grading extends further south, simply to improve the slope of the pedestrian pathway down to the Audubon property, so that the grade will be more comfortable for hikers walking this way. You'll also notice that to the northeast, there's a new catch basin and outlet. This will allow water at the low point of the roadway, which is near that driveway to 25 Day Road, to leave the roadway and be discharged into the Wappoquia Brook. This is a view of the proposed roadway profile. The bridge is in orange, and areas of fill are indicated in green, and areas of cut are indicated in light orange. There's a small area of light orange to the east side of the bridge, which is a little hard to see in this view, but mostly the takeaway is that we have fill on the west side and a small amount of cut on the east side. The proposed roadway elevation is shown in yellow, and the existing roadway is shown as a dashed line. So we are maintaining the existing profile across the bridge with some slight improvements to roadway geometrics so that the vertical path of travel is a little bit smoother. The work to replace the bridge is proposed to be done utilizing a detour. The project site, indicated as the hatched area, will be closed to through traffic. Vehicles will detour around the site using Day Road, Needles Eye Road, and Pomfret Street, which is Route 44. The detour is a total of 2.6 miles in length. When we plan bridge projects, we also take into account both utility impacts and historical impacts. There are no underground utilities at the bridge, but there are utilities on the north side of the bridge that will be temporarily moved further north during construction. The utility surfaces will be maintained, but moving them will allow the contractor to perform work without conflicts from overhead wires. As the project winds down, those utility lines will be moved back closer to the roadway. Another thing that we look at is historical impacts. CTDOT expects to reach a finding of no historic properties affected for this project under Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. There is an area of cultural sensitivity that is eligible for the National Register of Historic Places in the vicinity. For this reason, the proposed project is staying within the existing bridge footprint as much as possible, so that none of the areas that have been identified as culturally sensitive will be disturbed. The bottom left photo is some of the archaeological finds in that culturally sensitive area. In terms of environmental impacts, this project will have tree clearing along the roadway. There will be temporary and permanent wetland and watercourse impacts. Temporary water handling will require that the stream flow be maintained, and best management practices for fish and wildlife will be adhered to. At this particular bridge site, the wood turtle is a species of current concern. That's the photo to the bottom right. So things like exclusionary fencing and turtle sweeps will be done in order to protect this species. Anticipated permits include the Town of Pomfret Inland Wetland Permit, the Flood Management Certification, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Pre-Construction Notification. In terms of the proposed rights-of-way impacts, for this project, there are impacts to the adjacent properties. There are 2 partial takes on the south side of the bridge. These are indicated in green. This allows for both the construction and maintenance of the new bridge, which is slightly wider than the existing bridge. There are slope easements on all 4 properties. There are construction easements on all 4 properties as well. These are shown with the hatching in purple on both the north and the south sides. 2 properties will require guide rail and anchorage easements, and finally 1 property will require a drainage easement. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jack Carlson to talk about the rights-of-way process.
Thank you, Rochelle. Good evening. My name is Jack Carlson. I'm a project coordinator with the Department's Division of Rights of Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the property rights needed for transportation projects. As mentioned in the presentation, this project will require the acquisition of property rights, so I'd like to give a brief overview of our acquisition process. Any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statute Section 13A73 and 13A98E, as well as the Uniform Act. Additionally, the specific right-of-way impacts are still being finalized and may change as the project design progresses. As Rochelle had mentioned, there are different types of impacts to private property, such as partial acquisitions, easements, and temporary rights. Next slide, please. The right-of-way acquisition process begins once the project design has progressed to a development milestone and all the impacts have been determined. At this point, each affected property owner will receive from our office a formal letter of intent to acquire, what we call our initial letter, along with a property map, which is shown on the right side of your screen, which will depict the specific property rights being acquired from each individual property. Next, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights, which will be used to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a rights-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and explain the department's offer. The property owner will then have a reasonable amount of time, typically 30 days, to consider the department's offer and enter into negotiations. When an agreement is reached, the department will then prepare all of the necessary paperwork to record the deed and property map on the town land records during the closing. However, if an agreement is not able to be reached, in order to keep the project on schedule, the department will acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state of Connecticut files a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the department's initial offer. The affected property owner would then have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt the department's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the property owner chooses to appeal, the money deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner at any time. It's important to note that the department only acquires property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the right-of-way acquisition process, I can answer them after the presentation. And with that, I'll hand it back to Rochelle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. In terms of the project schedule and cost, this project is anticipated to go into construction in spring of 2028. That is subject to making sure that the project has acquired all property rights of way and permit approvals. The construction duration is anticipated to be one season from the beginning of April to the end of November, which is about 8 months. The cost of this project is anticipated to be $3.2 million. That is paid for through 80% federal funds and 20% state funds. As Maureen mentioned, this project is being undertaken at no cost to the town. Please note that the cost and schedule are preliminary and subject to change. At this point, I am going to turn it back over to Mark Burns, and we can start our question and answer session.
Thank you very much, Rochelle, and thank you, Jack, for that. So as Rochelle stated, we will now begin the Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, they can put them into the Q&A chat. And again, the comment period is open for 2 weeks following this event. So if you have a question that comes up afterward, you can send it to us by email, by phone, or through the town, and then Maureen can relay it to us. We have a first question from Jackie Libby. We appreciate the work that's gone into evaluating the bridge. I do have a couple of questions to better understand the reasoning behind the project. Like you said, this is a quiet country road. Can you speak to why increasing the bridge's weight rating is necessary? I'm concerned that accommodating heavier loads could lead to increased or different types of traffic that may change the character and safety of the area. Also, the slide indicated the bridge is currently in satisfactory condition. Could you clarify what factors are driving the decision to replace it now rather than maintain or rehabilitate the existing structure? I'd really like to understand long-term vision here and how this project aligns with preserving the nature of this road. Michelle, would you like to take that?
Yeah, so I think to answer your first concern about the weight rating, all bridges in the state of Connecticut, we like to see them be able to carry all legal loads. And so right now, this bridge cannot carry those legal loads. Um, uh, I doubt that it's going to change the character of the traffic through the area very much. As you proceed to the east, this road is fairly narrow and windy. It doesn't really go to any major transportation hubs or industrial hubs. So I don't really see this becoming a major thoroughfare for tractor trailers. However, if there is a tractor trailer that needs to come through the area, it can cross the bridge. And so that is our goal, is to make sure that our bridges are not posted and weight restricted. The next part of your question has to do with kind of the overall reason for replacing this bridge because it is in satisfactory condition. As I mentioned, the condition of the bridge isn't necessarily the primary driving factor for this bridge. It really is that scour critical condition. So we've had several bridges in the state of Connecticut. The bridges in Oxford, as well as some other bridges in the FLB program that have had large storm events, and it has caused undermining of the bridges, and then the bridges have to be replaced in emergency, as Marie mentioned. And when those become emergency replacements, they also become much more expensive replacements. Pomfret itself has had one bridge that has had issues with scour. That bridge is Taft Pond Road. It is currently under construction and being replaced for just this reason. And what happened in that condition was that the bridge had to be posted for 3 tons. So, having a bridge posted for 31 tons, that's a pretty large amount, but 6 tons is pretty small. So that means that, a lot of delivery trucks, fuel trucks, those kinds of things have to find an alternate route. So by replacing this bridge before it becomes an emergency, ensures that this bridge will continue to function well into the future.
Thank you. One other thing to add, thank you, Michelle. One other thing to add too, there's additional weight restrictions regarding or load rating postings regarding emergency vehicles. So that's another concern too, that their load rating qualifications have changed for emergency vehicles. So we have to make sure this bridge rates for fire apparatus as well. The question came in from Rob Kerr. It looks like one was addition to the load rating, which we covered, but it looks like the road work is going to take place near both existing driveways on Day Road. Will the homeowners be able to access their driveways during the duration of this project?
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to read that question. I didn't see it pop up, but yes, neither of the roadways will be blocked during construction, or the driveways will be blocked during construction. The contractor will coordinate with you when they are doing work immediately in front of your driveway to make sure that, when they are paving that or when they're putting in the new asphalt aprons, that those are being done in coordination with the property owners so that they're not unduly inconvenienced by construction equipment.
Thank you, Michelle. Question came in from Fred Williams. I agree with Jackie. If the bridge is structurally sound and weight load is sufficient to existing traffic and improvements still don't meet standards for high water, is this really one of the top bridge projects in the area?
I would say that it is an important bridge to take care of. The opportunity is there to replace this bridge and address it for future generations. It is a little bit of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Thank you, Michelle. And I'll add as well, this project did undergo an extensive preliminary design review within the department to determine the most cost-effective repair. Another comment from Jackie. Libby, thank you. Can you remind us how long that portion of the road will be closed down for?
It will be closed for 8 months, from approximately April of 2028 to November of 2028. Again, the timing of the project is dependent on right-of-way acquisitions and completion of environmental permit acquisitions.
I'm going to keep this open for another minute or two. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to put them into the Q&A chat. And as I stated previously, we still have a 2-week comment period, so you can email or call with any questions. Got a question, but thank you for the presentation, for the thorough presentation from Fred Williams. You're welcome. Okay. With that, I think we can conclude the meeting for tonight. We appreciate your attendance and your questions. This will be very helpful as we progress along the design. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.